Hello again, and welcome to Next Chapter Woman and our new series on Let's Try This, where we test ideas, tools, and possibilities for building whatever comes next in our next chapter. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed how quickly the world changes sometimes? Hey, new tools, new language, new technology, new expectations. And if you're anything like me, part of you might just be thinking, do I actually need to care about this? Or you might be thinking, have I become the person who's getting left behind? Well, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. My earlier next chapter was about emotional rebuilding, about independence, about starting over, about figuring out life after a big change happened. But this season of my life, it feels different somehow. And I'm thinking about creativity. I'm thinking about scalable income. I'm thinking about new projects, new opportunities, and how I spend my time. I'm also thinking about staying mentally engaged. And I keep bumping into one thing over and over and over. AI. Not because I want to become a tech expert. No. I don't want that. And not because I suddenly want to talk in acronyms and scare everyone away. But actually because I'm genuinely asking, could this be useful for building what comes next in our next chapter? AI might matter if we want to learn new things, if we want to write or organize ourselves, or plan and create and brainstorm, or even research. How about save time? And most importantly for me, how about staying mentally engaged and using our practical capability? And maybe this matters to you too. Not because you need to become some kind of technology wizard, but because practical tools can change how we work, how we create, and how we think. So I predict a sense of resistance to trying and or using AI. I had a little bit of that resistance early on as well. Um, I call it resistance, but we might call it skepticism. Uh, a little bit of overwhelm in the AI world. Things change so fast, we don't know how we can ever keep up. We might be thinking, well, there's just not another platform, or I've heard this before. I don't want to work on the computer all the time, blah, blah, blah. There's also some confusing words. People call it jargon around that AI technology. And maybe even we're feeling a little late to the party. How can we ever get started? I didn't wake up one day desperate to learn AI, but it was intriguing, still is intriguing, and I see it changing the world and business and social interactions, just changing everything in the world around us right now. So after all of the wondering and worrying about AI, why did I change my mind? Well, I kind of wanted to see if I could use AI to write books on different topics, on different things that are important to me, or maybe things that I just wanted to dabble in and wonder, can I do that? I was also wondering about, well, how do you publish books, especially using KDP? I have a whole bunch of ideas built up in my head. I've been keeping them, waiting for that day when I might have time. I also, the older I get, the more productive I want to be in the least amount of time. I also want to think about scaling the possibilities, creating income or, you know, pin money, fun money, if you will, um, from that opportunity. And also a big curiosity about possibilities, about what can I learn? What can I do? And I started wondering about whether this could help me create faster, AI that is, whether it could help me and not replace thinking, not replacing me, but supporting me and helping me along on this journey and helping me get things done a little bit easier and a little bit faster. That's what I started thinking about. So let's talk for a minute about how I think about AI and how it might fit into what I'm doing. So I treat AI, specifically um, Chat GPT and Gemini, I guess you say, Gemini and Perplexity. Those are the three that I use the most. I treat them as a research assistant. So instead of in the olden days going to the library and trying to figure out how to do something or more details on doing things, or even reading books on it, I treat AI as a research assistant, like a trusted associate who I can ask questions of, who will go out and research and find answers, or maybe even find questions about what I'm thinking about doing. I treat AI like a brainstorming partner, someone who's sitting in the same room with me and we banter things about and let the creativity flow. I also treat AI as a draft helper. So we might come up with an idea and we're not quite sure just yet whether that's a good idea or something that we should scrap or should we continue on. So a draft. And when we go back and forth with AI in that manner, lots of times it clarifies our thinking and we're able to discover something that we hadn't thought about before. Most of all, and in addition, AI helps as my organizational helper. I like to keep things organized, A before B, B before C, and have them make sense. So, an organizational helper is one of the biggest reasons for me to use and get to know AI and to train it on what Diane is, how she thinks, what she hasn't thought about, all of those fun things. So, in upcoming episodes of Let's Try This, I hope to test with you different things that fall into that AI world mostly, but also different apps that we might be able to use to do things faster, easier, more cost effective um, with AI and with apps rather than learning and doing on our own. For example, topics like book writing, and maybe even various genres of book writing like children's books or puzzle books or mysteries or um, historical novels, anything. They're all possible. Maybe even looking into publishing with Amazon KDP and how those workflows work. How to use AI and different apps for idea generation. If you think you might run out of ideas, well, here's some ways we might be able to use particular apps so that we're never stuck. Also, we might be able to test some different productivity tools. We can test prompts, and we can just plain experiment with what's out there. A childlike excitement about trying something new and maybe messing up a little bit and maybe learning in the long run. I've no idea yet what's hype and what's genuinely useful for some of these tools. That's exactly why we're trying this. So there's also a bigger emotional meaning for doing this. As we age, or especially as I age, I find it important that I remain capable, that I practice lifelong learning, that I refuse obsolescence. I practice curiosity as my identity, remaining curious. And I give myself permission to evolve. Maybe this isn't really about AI at all. Maybe it's about whether we still see ourselves as people who can learn new things. So I'm curious, does AI, does that spawn an excitement in you, or does it intrigue you? Does it intimidate you, annoy you? Have you even tried it? Or have you been hoping that someone else would go first? Well, here I am. You can join me in these sessions where we explore and learn together and maybe even mess up a little bit along the way. So that's it for now. Join me next time in another episode of Let's Try This, where we experiment, try new things, and maybe even mess up in real time. And as always, take care and bye for now.